And we're back, Stripe Show podcast on a Thursday. Thank you for making us part of your day. Got a special one here today. Been working on this for a while. Thursday is instruction here on the pod, and joining me is one of the top coaches in the game from his home in Florida, Mike Adams. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good.
I appreciate you taking the time. You've always shared your time with me so graciously about all of the work that you've done in this game, all the players that you've worked on. We're going to look at one of your players that has really caught my eye and seems to be playing some really good golf, and that is Aaron Badley here in a second. But before we came on air, you were just talking to me casually about just kind of modern instruction as it is, right? Just kind of where we are right now as an industry. And you've got some concerns a little bit about where it's at.
I am definitely concerned. I think everything is moving towards the middle. Everything that we don't like, we call basically say, he's not, he's off the charts, and that's just something that they can do and get away with. The problem is that Jim Furyk, one of the greatest ball strikers ever, nobody ever tried to copy it. Yet Matt Wolf swung that way, as did Seve Ballesteros. You look at we call them outliers, okay? And outliers, there really aren't any outliers. All there are is people who play golf. And there's the middle, but there's also people who play on both sides of the middle, who take the club back inside and open, or take it back outside and hooded. Rory McIlroy, outside and hooded. John Rahm, inside and open. Yet we think that they need to be both down the toe line. And what made the toe line the correct thing? Why do we make the decision to have the toe line what we want as our gold standard?
Mm-hmm. And the toe line, Mike, just as I'll demonstrate here, and thanks for everyone joining in, but what you're talking about here is the toe line, club shaft gets back parallel, right? That shaft is pretty much across my toe line, where Rory would be, say, a little this way, right? Club head
more
outside.
out.
Yep.
More
and then
outside,
Ron, of course, gets it a little more in there like that.
Correct.
Now, let's build on that. And in fact, let's start with Ron, because I've actually got him loaded in here. We're going to look at a decent amount of video here today with you. And here's Rom hitting a fairway wood. And Rom gets that club head inside. Now, at least in my eyes, when I look at it, it doesn't look necessarily open.
It's open.
The club face is open. How would you define open as far as visually?
Okay, well, if you define toe up as square, if the face is looking towards the sky a little bit, it's open. If it's looking towards the ground a little bit, it's hooded. But John Rahm grips the club under the shaft, okay, with the right hand. Okay, if that club is square, or then it is open to his grip, correct?
Then it's open to his grip, because his right hand's more under,
which shuts the face.
Which shuts the face.
And his grip in the face is open to his grip. Okay.
Okay. So you're saying you're labeling the club face being right there. The club face is open.
Notice the toe is not straight up and down. It's slightly laying back. It's also inside, and the left arm is off the chest. Correct.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely inside. I mean, he's historically, club head gets in behind the hands quickly, right? Okay.
Well, think of it logically. If you took your hand, okay, place your right hand straight out in front of you. Shoot and have a video of you standing there with right hand straight out in front of you.
Yep, right here.
Okay. Now, all I want you to do is take the right hand, and I want you to start to turn it towards the sky. And tell me where your right elbow moves.
Yeah, elbow gets out in front.
Right, out in front and under, right?
Yep.
Okay, take the right hand, same position, and move the right hand more on top. And where does the right elbow move?
Out.
Out and away. So right hand grip is going to change what the club does. Okay. Now, if you take that right hand in the same position straight out in front of you and hinge it straight back, that would be toed up and released down the line with the hand. Okay.
Yep.
Now, do the same thing. Turn it at 45 degrees so it's facing up. And where's the right hand hinge? Take the club back. Inside. And where does it release it? Up into the right. Okay. Now take that same right hand and turn it so it's 45 degrees down. Now hinge it up. Where does it take it back?
Up.
Outside and hit and hood it. And where's it released? Down and left. So how in the world do we teach something to happen when basically the right hand will change what the club does?
So with the right hand more under, right, like this, stronger. And when you go back,
I'm not seeing you.
Huh?
I'm not seeing you.
The video right there in front of you? You see the video?
No, I'm not seeing you. No.
Hold on one sec here. Let's see. How about now?
I see you on the left, but I don't see.
Yeah. Yeah, here we go. So how about now?
I see John Rahm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with the setup here, right, and the right hand more under, you're more likely, you're okay with that right hand more under for that club head to dip a little inside.
That's what he tested out to be.
Yep. Yep. So those match up.
And that's a dynamic matchup.
Yep. Now from there, with that under, then he bows the wrist.
Because see where the right elbow goes?
Mm-hmm.
It goes in closer. So the only thing the wrist is bow. Think of the guys who bow at the top.
So that right elbow kind of, he gets kind of some externally rotation. That left wrist bows out, and then from there he just kind of rotates and hits it.
Now the right elbow bends, tucks into the side. See?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So then it doesn't support the left arm, and so when it goes back, it's gonna bow.
Okay. Now let's go to hold that thought, because I'm going to show you now a very different grip. And this grip is one of your students,
right?
Aaron Badley. And that right hand is completely opposite. That right hand is way on top of the grip, which we would say is a weaker grip.
Well, he's a cover golfer.
Okay.
Rory is modified there. He's not quite as far over as Bads, but he's fairly close to that.
So a cover golfer, when you say cover starts with the grip being.
What does the hand do covering the grip?
Yeah, right hand's covering on top.
Right. When the right hand is under, it's under the grip. We call that an under.
And then when it's side on, it's 45.
Pardon?
And then like Rory, more side, it's 45.
Well, Rory's not side. Rory's side cover.
Okay.
He played bad when he got to be side.
Okay. So when you say side cover, explain that.
Okay. If you put the hand on the side of the shaft, it's side, right?
Yep.
So if you start to move it to more on top, it is side cover. It's between side and cover.
Oh, okay. So it's in between. Okay. Gotcha.
That's Rory.
So when you look at this grip, so Badley is a cover golfer. It starts with the right hand. You've tested him out.
Yep.
Why does this work for him?
Because he can't. It's what it does is quiets the club face. Do you have a golf club there?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Okay. Grip the club with your right hand only, and put your right hand on neutral.
Neutral. Okay.
Okay. And swing the club waist high to waist high, and tell me what the face does through impact.
Waist high to waist high. I feel like the face is kind of 45 degrees back to the target line.
Just swing it. Don't try to position it. Just swing it freely.
Yeah. I feel face rotation. I feel some face rotation in both directions.
Okay, and the face is shutting through impact, correct?
Right.
Okay. Start to move your right hand more on top.
Okay.
Now do the same thing. What is the face doing?
Yeah, not as much.
Okay, then do it a little bit more.
Yeah, it feels like it's almost like the face is like laying back to me.
Okay, so you did it too much.
Okay.
So if you do it a little less, it'll be quiet through impact. It's not opening or shutting, right?
Right.
Okay. When Rory does that, he's a slightly side cover. When Baz does it, he has got to be way on top. When Rom does it, he's got to be way under. Because I've tested all these guys.
Yeah. So with that right hand on top, left hand though is pretty strong.
Yeah, but left hand's different. Left hand's totally different. Left hand takes care of the lower body. The right hand and left hand do not match, contrary to popular belief.
Okay. So the right hand for you is controlling the face angle, right? As far as how much.
What did you tell me? What was it doing to the face?
Well, that's what I'm sensing is the right hand
the face angle.
Is controlling.
It shut it, then all of a sudden it wasn't shutting it, right?
Right.
Stabilized it.
Right.
So that's definitely controlling the face angle. Is it not?
It is, but couldn't I do that with my left hand too?
No, because left hand's going to match what the lower body does.
Okay.
The more lower body, the more rotation or verticals I have, which are both openers, the stronger the left hand grips has to be.
Okay, so the left hand being strong, based off that, you're saying is that he can rotate and get up out of the ground better.
Right. Well, it's not a matter of he can, it just matches what he does.
Okay, matches what he does. So if his left hand was weaker and he was a guy that really was opening up and pushing up, that
he would
face
hit it way right.
He'd hit it way right. Yeah. Right.
Which is what he did.
Okay.
So then he quit using his lower body, and as a result, he hit it much shorter.
Right. So let's look at that here. Let's go to this. Watch this. Here's his swing. And what we're looking at here in the lower body is someone
more front post.
Is got into the ground, left foot, and is pushing up and turning.
Right.
Okay.
Notice he doesn't have a big shift to the right. He stays more left.
Going back too, right?
Yep.
Yep. That's kind of the old stack and tilt days, isn't it?
Similar. He played some really good golf with stack and tilt.
Yeah.
Not until they started changing his grip did he have problems.
Here's what caught my eye, Mike, is I was at Palm Springs and I was standing on the end of the range there and watching him, and he was aiming right. And I had two people come up to me and say, what kind of drill is that? I was like, I don't think that's a drill. I think that's the way Aaron's playing golf.
It is.
And so why the feet to the right?
Because that's the only time you can get it down the line. Grip your club again with the left hand only.
Okay.
Put your right hand open and flat behind the shaft.
All right, one more time. So I'm going to grip with my left hand only.
Yep.
And then my right hand what?
Open the right hand so the palm is there, and put it square directly behind the shaft.
Like that.
Okay. Now swing waist high to waist high and push with the right hand, and you tell me where the club wants to swing.
I'm gonna swing and push with my right hand.
Waist high to waist high.
Wants to swing out a little, doesn't it?
No, I don't know. You tell me.
I'm not sure I've ever.
When Aaron does it, his club wants to swing way left.
Wants to swing left.
He kept closing his stance till we found it where it worked down the line.
Gotcha. Okay, so wouldn't I have to put my right hand more on top because that's where it is?
Mm-hmm.
I see. Yeah, I had it too much to the side.
Okay, so cover it. Now push with the. Tell me where it wants to go.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I see. Okay, I'm with you now. So when my right hand's on top, now I feel like it wants to go more left.
So keep closing your stance till it wants to go down the line.
I gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So and this is interesting, Mike, because I've had this conversation with a few different people. One of them, a media member that is on television. And we were talking, and I said, this is the way he's swinging. And when someone sees that, they instantly think, well, he's just trying to hit a draw. His body's more to the right. And I was like, no, I actually think it's the opposite. I think he's doing that because he's swinging more left. And right,
this is swinging down the line. Okay, think of this. Hey, where is Dustin Johnson aimed?
Yeah, I'm with you on that as far as what he's doing there with his feet, to that when he turns, it's working more down the line, which with his attack angle, that would just hit a slight draw, right?
Right.
And if he wanted to fade it, then he would bring his left foot back. He would open up a little more.
Or he just bring his right foot back to square.
Or his right foot back to square. Okay. You know, what's interesting was when I see this, it's like what I think of is the short game techniques that we do. Like one of the drills is left foot forward, right foot back to really stay on top of it and cover it and not back up.
Right.
Right. And so when I look at Aaron, it's like it feels like a little bit of an exaggeration to that. I've also noticed, Mike, and I've had this conversation with a lot of short game coaches, is that you're seeing in the bunker this same setup, feet closed, shoulders more open, and then more on top of it and releasing it down the line.
It works.
Yeah, it does work. It does work. Yeah. So is there any sacrifice to distance?
Well, Aaron's club head speed when he came to me was 108, and it's now 119.
Okay.
His ball speed is 177, 176.
You were saying, yeah, you were mentioning Dustin Johnson, and I interrupted you. What were you saying there?
Well, Dustin Johnson's an undergolfer, okay? He hit hooks because his path naturally wants to go to the right. His face naturally wants to close through impact, okay? When Butch opened him up, it set up his body so his path was still swinging to the right of his body, but it was to the left of the target line, and the face stayed open because the left leg locked up later, and he hits fades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, same thing with Lee Trevino did the same thing, as did John Rahm, as did JB Holmes. They're all under golfers who play fades with a closed club face.
Right. So with that under golfer and that right hand underneath, the difference between DJ and Rahm though is that DJ doesn't take club head inside.
No, he takes it down the line because he's more open than Rahm is.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that?
Yeah. So he's more open. So he naturally.
So if he stood square, that club would actually go inside.
Mm-hmm. His hands kind of go out too. His hands kind of go out away from him.
The same thing as Rahm's does.
Yeah. Left arm comes off the chest.
Right elbow tucks in.
Right elbow tucks in. So if you're a player that does that, then you've got to be more under because that face is going to want to open up more.
Correct.
Yep. How do you teach the backswing pivot with this, Mike? As far as, let me ask you this.
Well, it depends upon the pivot. Are they front post? Are they center? Or are they rear? I mean, if you happen to be Lydia Ko, where you shift to the right and move through where you're rear post, or you happen to be Aaron Badley, where you pivot around the front leg. I mean, okay, first of all, your post doesn't depend upon how far you hit it. Two longest guys on tour are Bryson DeChambeau and Cameron Champ, both front post golfers. Okay?
Yeah.
Luke Donald, who is rear post, is one of the shorter golfers.
Fair.
Gary Woodland is a rear post, but he's long.
Mm-hmm. That's not the only power source, right? I mean, that's just part of it.
Well, the power sources are how you use the ground, whether you're going to be more horizontal, more rotational, or more vertical. And a lot of that's going to be determined by the grip and which pose and how you use the lower body.
How about this guy, Scotty Scheffler? He's pretty good. He just won the Players Championship.
Yeah, by a lot.
He's a guy that his footwork, right, gets a lot of thoughts. Like, how in the world does that guy do that? How does his right foot glide across the glass, and his left foot's pushing back, his left foot is rolling? All of this footwork. When you watch that, what comes to mind?
What comes to mind is somebody's using the ground perfectly. Randy and I have discussed this.
And using the ground perfectly is what to our audience?
Well, I mean, what is Justin Thomas? Both feet are off the ground when he hits the golf ball.
Mm-hmm. Different right foot, though, right? I mean, because his right
totally
foot,
different grips.
Yep. Right foot pops up straight to the toe, where Scheffler's is more down on the instep.
Mm-hmm. Scheffler does a great job of pushing into the ground. Hits the ball straight and far.
Yeah.
See, instead of we sit there and we criticize things that are different to us, and we think they're wrong. When in reality, what we need to do is figure out why they work.
Mm-hmm. And so for Scheffler, his grip is probably more side
to side cover.
Side to side cover.
He likes to play a fade.
Loves to play a fade. And what I like about him also is he hits it. He hits all shots. He works it every which way.
So does Baddeley. So does Dustin Johnson.
What is your thoughts on changing of knee flex? You look at Scheffler right there, the right knee, and his right knee, I'd say, stayed pretty flexed, right? I mean, he hasn't really let the right side of the pelvis climb too much into the backswing.
But most guys who are front post, it all depends on right foot flare. Do you know that?
Okay. So right foot flare away.
If your right foot flare is straight ahead, go ahead and turn back and you'll see that the right leg straightens up.
Yep.
Okay. If you flare your right foot out a lot and turn back, what happens? You maintain flex.
Yeah.
So the more front post you are, the squarer you want the right foot, because you want the body moving back to the left center. The more rear you are, the more the right foot's going to flare out, because you want the body moving to the right more.
Yep. So why in the stack days was the right foot flared out so much if I'm staying left?
I think that was an error that they made. Mm-hmm. Because then they required them to move more left and stay higher left. If they simply squared up the right foot, they would have stayed more left.
Yeah. So if I want to get more into the trail post, I would flare out the right foot a little.
Well, go ahead and put a club across the top of your thighs.
The top of my what?
Put a club across the top of your thighs.
Yep.
Just lay the shaft there. Flare the right foot out and turn back and tell me where you went.
Yeah. I feel myself moving into my trail side more.
Okay. Square your right foot up and do the same thing.
Yeah, more restricted.
Moves back to the front.
Yeah. Yep. So
these are called dynamic matchups.
Yeah.
This is important. What you're trying to achieve, you need to have certain matchups.
Right.
If I'm a rear post, Lydia Ko, okay, was the number one player in the world. She came to us and to get checked on force plates. And she was working with a teacher who had changed her. She was very much under grip, big shift to the right, and beat everybody, okay? Club head speed was 93, 94, which is about tour average for the LPGA Tour. We saw her a couple years ago. Right hand been moved to neutral. She was trying to stay more centered, and her club head speed was 84 miles an hour with a driver. I mean, she couldn't play.
Right.
And then Sean Foley started working with her, allowed her to move back to the right, move her right hand more under, and all of a sudden speed went back up, and she went back to number 1 in the world.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that. I had a conversation with Sean about that and getting her to move more freely.
Yeah, he and I talked about it. He says, "What do you think's wrong?" I said, "When we tested her, she changed her right hand grip, so she didn't have any control of the club face anymore."
Yep. So if you're going to get into the trail post, and these are the dynamic matchups, flare out the right foot, your pelvis probably going to move a little bit more into the right side. You kind of might get a little more range and stand up the right leg a little bit more, a little change of knee flex.
Well, think of this, okay? Everybody shifts right, even front post golfers. They just get back to the left sooner.
Yeah.
By the time the club gets to waist high, the front post players are already moving back to the front.
Yep.
By the time the left arm gets parallel to the ground, the center posts are moving back. And as far as the rear post, they wait till they get all the way back there.
Yeah. When you see this side bend discussion, I'm just bringing up some topics that are discussed a lot. Side bend to the right is something that can put a lot of pressure on the back. Will Zalatoris, I talked to Dr. Greg Rose a lot. I've
Smart guy.
Yeah.
I've a good friend of mine.
Yep. Talked to his team and Josh Gregory and they're definitely making some changes as far as what Will does and how the weight shifts in transition. You see that excessive right bend. What's the first thing that comes to your mind, Mike, when players backing up like that and putting a lot of pressure on the back?
Yeah, but that right bend is caused. Okay, side bend is an opener. Do you know that?
Side bend's an opener, yes.
It opens the face because when the right arm is bent, what is the face going to be?
Yeah.
Open.
Yep.
So lots of side bend is going to be open. I was talking to probably the person that has the most side bend in golf. You know who that is?
The most side bend in golf, other than Will Zalatoris?
Yeah.
DJ?
No, more than him.
Put me on the
His
spot.
best friend is Mito.
His best friend is Mito. Oh, Joaquin Neiman.
Correct. So he walks up to me at Medalist, because I taught Medalist for 14 years. He walked up to me and he said, "Mike, am I going to have a bad back because of my side bend?" And I tested him, and he probably has got the most undergrip that I've ever tested. Okay? So as soon as that right arm bend, as soon as that right hand moves under, you told me that the right elbow moved forward and under, right?
Yep.
Okay? If you turn through at that, what are you going to have?
Yep. You're going to back up.
You're going to have side bend. Okay? I said, here's what has to happen, Joaquin. If you didn't take the club back outside and hooded, you allowed the right arm to open up and going back like most under golfers, you wouldn't need as much side bend. And he goes, "Why is that?" I said, "Because you need an opener." So he took it back, allowed the right arm to fold, the face open up, and he hit it, and he didn't need as much side bend. And he goes, "Oh, wow." He said, "That's interesting." But he was taught to take the club back outside and hooded.
Yeah.
Which is what Mito does, because Mito is very much cover.
Yeah. So he would have to weaken his grip. He'd have to be more on the side.
Well, no. He's an under golfer. See, that when he comes through the golf ball, that right hand is always going to be under. Do you understand?
Yeah, I get you with the side bend. Yep. Yeah, because that's the opener.
Well, not even with the side bend. That's just his natural. That's what he is predisposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Baddeley is predisposed for that right hand to be on top when he comes through the golf ball.
Yep.
So if he put the right hand on the side, what would the face be when Baddeley came through the golf ball? Be shut. Well, if the same thing happened with Zalatoris or any of the other guys, the right hand who has a lot of side bend, if they move their right hand to more neutral, what happens to the face? It still wants to come through under.
Right, it's going to be
open.
open.
The face is going to be wide open.
Yeah.
So,
I see. So yeah.
So it's not a matter of something that they want to do. It's just something that their body is predisposed to do.
So in those cases, you're just saying that the side bend is that it is what it is.
But they can use they have a different opener they can use.
But what
Justin Thomas still uses a lot of side bend, but he has a ton of verticals as his opener, and they can utilize that, as does JB Holmes uses a ton of verticals as his opener.
Right. So I'm with you on that. But if it's putting pressure on the back.
So you change them to creating more lower body verticals.
Yeah. So which is, now we're getting into a little more wholesale changes, right? With the side bend.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's
their grip. I'm going to change how they use their lower body.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where things start getting a little bit more interesting, right? When they have to, like, it'd be, okay, if I just got to do something here with my grip and counter that with something, all right. But I don't think it's going to be that clean and that simple with Will.
Probably not.
Yeah. I think they're trying, it sounds like they're trying to, because the right side of his pelvis would get so high in transition and he was kind of late shifting, right? He was late with his weight shift to the left, which if he's trying to get left sooner, wouldn't it be easier for him, in your logic, to be a little bit more of a front loader?
I think he's center. So that's you're either front, center, or rear.
Right.
I mean, that's something
less rear. If he got to be more less rear, right, and more center, let's say, he would go left sooner.
He could go left sooner, but it still throws everything off because his lower body still works a certain way.
Yeah.
I mean, Lydia went from rear to center, and all of a sudden she couldn't play. Same thing with Gary Woodland. They tried to keep him more center, and what happened? Played awful.
And Gary right now is trying to get more off it, right?
He's back trying to be where he was.
Yeah. And so Gary went down the path of trying to be more centered.
Well, that's what everybody wants, you in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
You should come and spend some time with Terry and I.
Yeah. Well, I've been him and I've been exchanging DMs. I think maybe we should bring the audience to you, and we do a fun educational seminar.
That would be fun.
Well, I'll work on that because I think there's I'm fascinated with your guys' stuff. I follow it. I think it's great, and it's fun to have conversations with you, but also for the audience to kind of piecemeal it. Where it's, as we look at these individual swings, how they're a little bit different, how Rom and DJ's perhaps works a little differently than what you're doing with Aaron Badley. Because what's fascinating is when someone looks at that, they're like, oh wow, that doesn't look normal, right? When someone looks at this with their feet, they're like, that doesn't look normal.
Well, they call it an outlier.
They call it an outlier.
You know what? Sam Snead play. How did Sam Snead play?
Yeah. Yeah.
Close stance. How did Hogan play when he hit driver?
Freddie Couples.
I mean, you go down the list. They play open. Very few people play square.
Mm-hmm. Who's your favorite swing? You have one?
My favorite swing is whoever's in front of me.
Oh, there you are. Hit the wrong button. Well, this is good stuff. This is fascinating. Anyone else out there swing wise that you see? Anything like, let me ask you this. One final question here. Men versus women, right? When you have a Lydia Ko in there, you have a Joaquin Neiman, are there tendencies one way or the other, a man versus a woman, or does it all it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. You all have two legs, two arms. They all have elbows, wrists, different flexibility. They're all individuals.
Yep. Okay. Mike, I can't thank you enough. This is great.
I've enjoyed it too.
Yeah, fun stuff. I'm gonna reach out to you guys here this week, and we're gonna come down there, and we've got a nice audience. Bring it down there. I think keep this discussion going. I think it'd be fun.
It'd be fun. Well, you take care, okay?
All right, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.